A very wise woman said that art is never wrong. It can be improved upon, it can be done differently, but it's never wrong. A very wise man once said, I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. And, we're talking about art, not the guy art, this art specifically. Hello and welcome. It is I, your grumpy guide to all the hip-hop role-playing game news, weathers, and general internet nonsense that is affectionately referred to as the OGGM. And the topic of contention today is the new art that we are seeing coming out of the new Player's Handbook, DM's Guide, Monster Manual from Wizards of the Coast, and some of the unusual choices they've making. Now, I've only seen 2 pictures that people have shown. I don't know where people are finding these pictures because when I looked for them, I couldn't find them. This is a copy of a copy of a copy that I got off somebody's Twitter. But yeah, we're all up in arms about this, and we're all up in arms about the new art for the new DM's Guide. Now, why are we... This is the orcs. I haven't seen any of the others. I assume they're just as bad. Now, why are people upset about this picture? Because on its own, it seems to be a very loving, nice picture that you might see on the side of a mural depicting, the Spanish colonists and conquistadors and the Spanish missionaries that came to California after the gold rush to bring, of course, the word of Christ to the indigenous people and establish the Bell Road, the miles and miles of Spanish missionaries along the California coast, of which I live on. So this looks like I live within walking distance of the Ventura mission. I've grown up in California. I've seen dozens of missions and the art. And this looks like something you'd see on display at the missions, at the Alamo, at something in New Mexico depicting the earlier settlers who came from Spain and Mexico. This is the clothing that they wore until you get closer and realize, no, these are supposed to be, I think, orcs. And I'm only guessing they're orcs because a couple of them have fangs. I'm not quite sure what these are supposed to be, but everybody seems to think that these are the new orc, half orcs, and they look nothing like any interpretation of the orc previously. Now, people have been questioning why the changes, why such drastic changes, and one thing that Wizards has let slip, Hasbro has let slip about why the drastic changes to lore and depiction is so they can make these things 100% theirs and scrub any reference to any other fantasy genre or Gygax. They want to completely erase Gygaxian D&D from D&D. They want to make D&D completely theirs. So anything that even has a hint of connection to culture, mythology, legend, history, literature that, Gary and Dave and the others for the past 50 years have been liberally stealing from to create the mythology of D&D, they're trying to erase. And they've been trying to do this since 2020. They've been trying to do this since Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, where they are slowly removing any connection to Gygax. So they wanted to present brand new orcs. Okay. I get that. I think it's, it's an unusual choice, but I get why you want to do that. So you have complete control of the IP and you don't, upset anybody. Now, we also know orcs have been the subject of contention because of the whole orcs are racist. And they're your portrayal of how you think people of color look. They're, examples of colonialism, racial appropriation, the racism in D&D. So we want our orcs to no longer be that. Okay, fine. I mean, again, that's a bullshit, but okay, sure. This racism is non-existent. Orcs are not a representation for any actual real living species or individuals or people. But okay, you want to make orcs look different. That's fine. You can make your orcs look different. And okay, fine. You don't want to have any attachment, any connection to colonialism, conquistadors, invasions, racial appropriation, whatever. So your orcs are going to be Mexican Americans, Spanish conquistadors, Spanish conquerors, Spanish settlers, Spanish missionaries. This is the exact same art you would see on the side of the Alamo, multiple places in New Mexico, Arizona. Almost every mission here in California has this picture. All you've done is replaced it with fangs. So we've got, we've got orc caballero, orc ranchero, we've got this orc lumberjack. Now people have said, that's not true. That's not what they're trying to do. Well, I live in California. I live near the mission. The Ventura mission, the Santa Barbara mission are both places that I have grown up around. So it was easy enough for me to go to their website and find art and pictures of the caballeros, of the conquistadors, of the conquerors, of the settlers, of the missionaries. And here's a painting. Actually, I think it might be a photograph, or it could be a painting. I don't know. Of some Mexican American, Hispanic American, Spanish American caballeros, roderios, ocheros, whatever they're called. This is how they dressed during that time period. Looks exactly like the art of the orcs. Racial appropriation. You are dumping your non-existent racists for art that's actually racist because you're stealing from another culture that existed here in California. Don't believe me? Oh, here's another one. Here we go. Here are the missionaries and the conquistadors and the colonists arriving on the shores of California to begin to spread the word of God along the Gold Road and building the various missions along the beaches, as we know, Los Angeles, the city of angels, San Diego, Saint Diego, Ventura, Saint Buenaventura, Santa Barbara, Saint Barbara, the famous California missions. Here is art from the California missions depicting these individuals exactly the same. Exactly the same. So if your point is, Wizards of the Coast, that we no longer want our orcs to be examples of racism, we no longer want our orcs to be examples of colonialism, we don't want our orcs to anymore represent racial appropriation, you then proceed to make your orcs look like conquerors, look like the conquistadors, look like the colonists, the missionaries, the Mexican Americans, Spanish Americans, South American, that came into California, New Mexico, Texas during and after the gold rush and did all the things that you associate orcs with. They colonized, they conquered, they subjugated. You did that. You made your orcs look like that. So we're upset about that. And the choice for making of that as the depiction of orcs is unusual. I'm not seeing the logic. I even when their choices are stupid, there's okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. You're just doing it the wrong way. Let's see if we can. Where did I put the picture? Hold on. Okay, so you don't want orcs to be portrayed like they've been portrayed, like the Middle Earth orc. Okay, fine. It's dumb, but fine. Of the billions and billions of possible new choices you could make to make the orcs no longer represent evil, why choose this? Why choose the Caballero? Why choose the Mexican, Hispanic, American rancheros? Why choose this period in time? Because this period in time is so associated with all the things you claim you no longer want orcs to be associated with. Multiple people of Spanish descent are looking at this and going, why? Why? I am offended. In fact, I think I just saw one. Hold on. I thought I'd just somebody make a thing about how they're Hispanic. There we go. As a Spaniard myself, I feel offended to be depicted as an orc. Yeah, I would think the people who they are trying to say, look, we don't want to offend you anymore, would be offended that you're stealing their culture to be orcs. But that's not all. We're also upset about this picture. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why we were upset about this picture. Hold on. Wrong one. Hold on. I think I'd be better prepared, but I didn't get a lot of sleep. And I haven't been able to find a lot of this picture, but apparently we are upset about this picture, and I couldn't figure out why we were upset about this picture, other than it's awful. I mean, this art. Now, this is supposedly the new DM's Guide art, and I went to confirm it. I went to several sites to see if they had the new DM screen. The DM screen on most of the sites they're saying is the 2024 DM screen doesn't look like this. So this is either an alternative art, or it's the expanded art, or it's, I don't know, the deluxe art or something. I don't know. Well, I mean, at least it depicts a dragon. I would say, first I would say, okay, it's way too bright and happy and clean to be a DM's guide. It doesn't really tell a story because it's so static. It's too busy. I may be really a minority of one. I didn't like art on my DM screen at all. I would either replace it with my art, or I would just get peachy folders and put them together to be my DM screen, because I always found the art distracting. I always found that people were looking at the art rather than going to see a thing. But that said, you want the DM screen to sort of help evoke the feeling. Now, this doesn't really evoke the feeling of D&D, so I thought maybe that's why people were upset about it, that it's just sort of boring and static and this same washed out, dreamy art that they've stolen. And then I was like, oh, you guys are upset because they're all standing in a straight line, right? One lightning bolt would take out this entire party. No group of adventurers ever stands in a straight line because, that's just stupidness 101. So are we upset about that? And it's like, no. Or are we upset because there's a goblin? Why is there a goblin? Goblins are not a player character race. We've got fish. We've got whatever this is. I think this is supposed to be a Goliath. So I guess Goliaths are back. We got a tiefling. We got a dwarf. We got a goblin. We got a dwarf, we got a gnome, we got a half orc, we got an elf. So I was like, oh, is because there's no humans? Are you upset because they put a goblin? Are you upset because there's no white men in this picture? Is that what it is? There's no white human men. There's no humans in this picture at all because, the racism is no humans. And there's no white men in this picture or white women in this picture. In fact, there's no women in this picture whatsoever. Not a single girl, unless maybe this one is a girl, but I'm not sure. I think these are all guys. So yeah, there's your non-discriminatory. Oh, this might be a girl. Yeah, I see a little tiddly there. Okay, so we got one female reptile. Reptiles don't have boba. Reptiles don't have external sexual organs because, but I guess in D&D land, dragonborn are mammals. except this isn't a dragonborn. I don't know what this is. A newtborn, maybe? I mean, that doesn't look like a dragon. It looks like a newt or a shark. Whatever this is, there are some titties, so maybe that's the one token female. That's not a girl. 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 So one maybe female, but no humans, and no women, no white men. Is that what we were upset about? Because the only thing that bothers me about this initial glance is it's just boring. It's uninteresting. It's too bright. It's too busy. And they're all standing in a straight line. One lightning bolt takes this entire party out. But then somebody said, drag queen. And I looked at this and I was like, I don't see a drag queen. I know drag queens. I've hung out with drag queens. I grew up in North Hollywood. I had neighbors who were drag queens, you know. None of these guys are drag queens. I mean, drag queens don't normally dress in drag 24/7. You know, if I'm a drag queen and I'm going to work on the construction site, I'm not going to dress up in my drag. I'm going to dress up in the uniform of the construction site. So even if one of these is a drag queen, they wouldn't wear drag in the dungeon. They would wear the clothing that's most functionable for them to be in the dungeon. So I don't see a drag queen unless they mean this one. Are they saying this is the drag queen because it's a titties but it's a lizard? So, and then somebody said, oh, no. We're upset because there's a trans. And I was like, where? How do you tell? All I see is a bunch of men and one maybe woman. And no humans, no human men, no human women. Where's the trans? Then somebody said, oh, well, this is really offensive and discriminatory because you can see the top surgery. And I was like, where? But then I saw this elf here. And if you can see, this elf has a black jaggedy line right below their pecs. And people were saying that's discriminatory, you know, that's trans, that's disgusting, that's X-rated because that's showing top surgery. And I was like, my mom had a double mastectomy. That's not what her scars look like. If you look at Elliot Page, that's not what his scars look like. If you look at other people who have had top surgery, that's not what the scars look like. That looks like a tribal tattoo. I think the only thing wrong with this one is that this guy's going bare-chested. So I think the one they're upset about is this one because the way this one's dressed, and some people are saying this is a top surgery scar. Doesn't look like a top surgery scar to me, being as I've been around people who have had top surgery scars, and it's not what the scars look like. Even Elliot Page's scars, who don't look like that. Mind you, Elliot had really good, expensive top surgery done. But yeah, it's never a straight line, guys. It's top surgery scars don't look like that. It looks more like a tattoo. Now, there's plenty of other things wrong with the way these guys are dressed. I'm offended that there are no women. I'm offended that there are no white men. I'm offended that there's no humans. I'm not sure why there is a goblin, because goblins, as far as I know, are not a player character race. Where'd it go? Somehow I made it go away because I'm dumb. Hold on. I'll bring it back. I hate you, computer. There it is. So I think we can all agree that this is just a bad choice. The art doesn't evoke D&D. It's just stagnant. It's too bright. It's too colorful. It's too pretty. It looks like a painting. It doesn't look like a group of adventurers. Every other DM screen, the good ones, have depicted a story, have depicted action, or so blasé enough that it doesn't distract you. You want your DM screen to either be boring, so it doesn't distract people from everything else, or you want it to be evocative. You know, the classic original DM screen had that whole story going on the cover. This is just a cartoon, and it's stagnant. So that would be my first thing. They're too bright. too colorful. That would be my second thing. Third, they're standing in a straight line. This party is dead. The next scene is the lightning bolt that's killed them. There's a goblin in the party. No goblin player character race. No fucking idea what this is. This is not a dragonborn. Is this a new race? I don't know what this is. It looks either like a fish or a blue newt, maybe. It doesn't look like a dragonborn, but it does have a little hint of tiddlies, so maybe that. Don't know what this is. I guess it's a Goliath. Yeah, just. I mean, I have a lot of problems with the way this elf is dressed, and maybe the elf is supposed to be gay because of the way they're standing, but I don't really get that. I just get, condescending, cocky elf with horrible clothing choices for going in a dungeon. I'm going to go in a dungeon bare chest. Nobody goes into a dungeon bare chest except for maybe a barbarian. So the only one that I could think that upsets people is this one, because either they're saying it's gay or they're saying it's a drag queen. This is the one they think is a drag queen, or they're saying that those are top scars, that this elf has had top surgery and has had top scars. Why? First, why, if the elf was trans and wanted to look like a male elf instead of a female elf and wanted to lose the tiddlies, you just get magic. You wouldn't get surgery. In fact, elves wouldn't even think of doing surgery. Defacing your body? No, it'd be like, oh, you don't want the boobs? Swoop. They're gone. Magic. No more boobs. Get out of my room. No, I won't with the surgery. I don't need to give you the surgery. We live in a world where there's magic. I can literally snap my fingers and make you fly, turn you into a sheep, and summon a sandwich, all in the same sentence. So, there. Boobs gone. You're a boy. Get out. You wouldn't need the surgery. But I guess if this is true, if this elf has had the top surgery because they want to say, hey, look, trans people play D&D. Well, I know trans people who have had the top surgery and they don't walk in the building with their tops off. So all you've done is probably, I know several LGBTQT people who have looked at this and found it stupid and offensive. And I know several trans people who have looked at this and said, that's not what my top surgery looks like. I'm totally offended. This is just stupid. Stop trying to represent things in your game that don't exist. Okay, just show us fantasy races. But really, the only really awful thing, the worst crime of this is that, of course, they're standing in a straight line and they are all dead. All that trap has to do, lightning bolts, and you're all freaking dead. Why are you standing in a straight line? All right, now we got some comments. Wow. Okay, Nostrostos los Espos Espinos Rescando. Hello and welcome. Please like, please share, please subscribe. They are saying, because they're evil, I'm assuming they're responding to my question, why would Wizards of the Coast make these choices? Because the choices are always dumb. The logic tree from A to B is always stupid. Okay? All right. Idea. We want orcs to be 100% ours. We don't want orcs to be associated with Tolkien anymore or any other depiction of orcs. Okay, that's fine, because then we can make orc merch that is 100% mine and nobody will say that's my orc. Okay, I have problems with that. No problems with that. People think orcs are evil and racist, so we want to present orcs in a way that they're no longer evil and racist. Okay. I mean, that's completely 100% wrong and has been disproven, but fine. We will come up with an orc that looks completely different than any other orc, and we will find a way to present them so they're not evil. Like, they're doing just everyday normal things. Okay. Both of those choices are dumb, but they make sense. So how are we going to do this? What is the single most offensive way we can present the orcs in a new way? Oh, here you go. We will present them as representations of the exact thing we're claiming we no longer represent. Cal is saying get some cultural deprecation, again referring to why choose that art. Dark Winter says Wild West D&D setting, that would be great. It's called Deadlands. Or you could pick up a Fistful of Goblins, my Wild West fantasy setting that I did with Dungeon Janitor. It's available for $1 on Drive-Thru. My Lord Erlen, we have orc tsunami problems in our southern border. My God. Orc Zero or Orc Zorro? Sure, why not? An orc who dresses up as a masked vigilante? Yeah, that'd be fine. Band of orcs is called an orchestra. Funny. The end of the missions is in Sonoma. That's true. I think the end of the missions. I mean, there's missions past that, you know. But I don't think they count. Billy the Orc. In Eberron, they were similar to Native Americans. Okay. Elven Arp. Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Dwarven. Happy face. Gnome Cassidy. Not sure there's an emoji. Flexing its nails. The 4 orc caballeros. Silly Wizards of the Coast thinks people actually believe them. Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, you know, Scott believes them. As a Spaniard myself, I feel offended to be depicted this way. Yeah, stop. Why are you stealing their culture? Someone had to get thrown under the Wizards of the Coast bus. Yeah, whoever made this choice is going to lose their job. They're not saying it's not AI art. In fact, they have said, you know, fuck it, we're going to use AI art. I know we said we weren't, but we are. Good. I'm half Spanish, and I think Wizards of the Coast made another mistake. Yes. Yes, I totally agree. From a business point of view, the choices make no sense. The only argument in their favor is, well, bad press is still press. People are still talking about us, right? We're still getting attention, right? The algorithm's still responding. And it's like, yeah, that is true once or twice, but every freaking week? I like that idea. I assume we're talking about Old West orcs. As an Italian descendant, Columbus, etc. We're on this with Spaniards. The Actuator looks like a chica. Are you sure this art is orcs and not Mexicans in the Fallout world? If you looked at it casually, you would not say those are orcs. Fat Friar is such a trope. Actually, I think she was supposed to be an opera singer. Mutants, blah, blah, blah. Good question. Why different art? Why not just, you know, if you're trying to merchandise the 1980s show, why not have the kids from the show? Why this? Not sure the tiefling is male. I don't know. It's a tiefling. Lactating Lizards is a great band name. A mimic mimicking an elf. HR Goblins is also a great band name. Elven Mastectomy, another great band name. I'm not surprised by Wozo. They screw up everything. Yes, this is an unusual choice for a DM screen for lots of reasons. It doesn't do what a DM screen is supposed to do. It has no connection to any of the other art. It doesn't carry on the story of the other DM product. Why not just feature the kids from the show, since that's one of your big advertising points for 2024 D&D is these are the kids from the show. I don't know. But I figured I'd talk about it because I know everybody would talking about it. We're all upset about the new cover because the new cover is stupid. We're all upset by the picture of the orcs because it's just dumb. I've been told there's other art that is being sneaked that is just as dumb. I'm assuming as the day progresses, we'll see that art because it is Origins And we know wizards are there in Ohio going, look what me made. And then there's the drag queen DM screen, which I guess what people are upset about again is this elf here. Is that what we're upset about? Is this the drag queen? Are you saying that's top surgery scar? It's not a top surgery scar, but it's just a very dumb looking, effeminate, completely impractical elf wizard. But don't worry about it, because everybody in this picture is dead. Lightning bolt. All right, well, I just wasted a half an hour of your time going over that subject, but that way I'd never have to talk about it again. Have a happy Friday. Thanks for stopping by. I see a lot of names on here I've never seen before, so if you haven't had a chance to like, share, and of course, subscribe to my channel, please take a moment to subscribe. Help me hit 2,000 subs by August 4th. And if you're looking for a Wild West D&D setting, I highly recommend you head on over to Drivethrurpg and pick up A Fistful of Goblins by myself and the Dungeon Janitor, which is a Wild West fantasy D&D Weird West thing that we wrote, featuring goblin cowboys. Link down below. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Please go outside and enjoy this amazing weather. I'll talk to you later. Get off my land.
Yo, check. Yeah, we're not the type to